Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Yvette with Yvette's Junk Journal Shop. I'm here with the November hashtag 12 by 12 Junk Journal Challenge 2025. This will be my project for the month. I am the main host this month, so I'm going a little overboard here and doing more than one journal. So I have these chenille pieces here that I showed in a prior video. I got those from Selena with Amore Fabriques. And I have made two covers here. I'm going to be working on a third one here, and I thought I would just pop on here. And for my first video for the reveal of what I'm doing, I thought I would show you how I'm doing it as well. So this is a tutorial as well as a reveal of my November journals. So I've made these two here, and as you can see, these are chenille bedspreads that have been repurposed for journal covers. I haven't decorated them, I haven't put pages in them or anything. So the first one here is this purple, and this was the first one that I made. So what I've done, I'm kind of going with a boho theme for these, or maybe some will be shabby chic, some might be botanical. I'm not sure if they're all going to be like one theme, or I'm just going to let them take on their own personality. So we'll see how that goes. Might be a series of boho, it might be a series of botanicals, I'm not sure. So knowing me, it'll be a mix and match of all of those things. So the first one here, I did cut the cover when I put it on, and then after I did that, I thought, I think I can just leave it a solid pocket, and when I put the signature in, it will hold, as or serve as a divider for the pocket. Because if you just have one pocket, everything kind of falls in. So this has two pockets. I've stitched around the entire perimeter, and I'll show you how I did that and why I did that. And then the second prototype that I have here is yellow. This is going to be a challenge for me. Probably out of all the colors, the orange and the yellow will be the most challenging for me because I don't normally craft with those colors. So here is the second one, and as you can see, I left this pocket open at the bottom. I think I like that a little bit more, and then of course when I put my signature in, that becomes the divider. So I'm going to show you the process. Now I did have some pre-cut chipboard that Dawn with Scrapbook Sage and I, we get together once in a while and exchange craft supplies, and I get things for my shop from her. And she had gifted me a Ziploc bag with these chipboard pieces in there, and they are quite sturdy. So I don't know what dimension they are, but they are definitely a little bit thicker. And then for the inside cover, I have a little bit thinner chipboard. Now I normally will use this and double it up. It's probably, I would say, about 3 layers of a cereal box, if that gives you any indication. And this is much more rigid. So the inside cover or panel is this right here, and that's what these are for. So I have dimensions here. These were already cut in the bag from Dawn, so I just went ahead and used them. I wrote on here, but I don't know that you can see it very well. It says 5 1/4 by 8 1/4, and I have 2 of those that were pre-cut. And then I have a 1/2 inch by 8 1/4 spine, just one of those, of course. And then the inside I cut at 4 3/4 by 7 3/4. The reason for that is it will sit right inside here like this. So you're going to have this covered, and you'll have a little bit, about a 1/4 inch reveal all the way around. So the first thing I'm going to do, here are the other covers that I'm going to be making. So some of them are the fuzzy, and then these are like the hobnob, and then this one's just like a plain rigid. So they're going to be a lot of fun to play with. So today I am going to be working with this one, and I've kind of prepared things here. You're going to need some thread of some sort. I normally use my cotton like binding thread that I have, which is like spools like this, but I didn't have it in this color, so I'm going to go ahead and use the embroidery floss. Now I did divide it in half, so I have 3 strands, and then I folded that in half, so there's 6 strands total, and then I just tied a knot in the bottom. So I've got that ready to go so that I don't have to thread the needle on camera and waste everybody's time. So you're going to need a piece of cardstock. Paper could work, but I would back that with something so that it's a little more sturdy. So this is a piece of cardstock, and what I'm going to do, oh, there's my beading thread. And you'll also need a clamp, and glue and scissors, and of course a needle for stitching. Now I did have a blunt end needle, and I have a very large hole in my finger from trying to get that through the material, so definitely a little bit of a pokey needle is best. So you're going to take these 2 smaller ones. Now the 5 1/4 by 8 1/4 thicker chipboard is the base, so for the cover, so we don't want to use those with this process. And then these are 4 3/4 by 7 3/4. Now I can get 2 pieces out of a 12 by 12 paper. You want to make sure that you have enough in the middle here that when you divide that in half, you still have enough to wrap and cover. So I'm just gonna kind of mark this a little bit so that I know sort of where I'm cutting. Just put a little mark here at the bottom, and I don't measure, I don't do any of that stuff. I just kind of come in there and eyeball it as I go along, and it doesn't have to be straight because this is all going to be wrapped around and covered. So let's work with one at a time. I just take it like this, kind of center it on the corners, and I want to give a pretty big reveal at the top. And I'll show you why that is here in a moment. And then I'm just going to grab that up and cut off about this much at the bottom, just so it's sort of even. Okay. I don't measure that, I just kind of cut that. And your cover might be a little different, so you just want to cut that inside panel at about a 1/2 inch. That'll give you a 1/4 inch reveal all the way around. Now this I do glue down quite well. I use Fabri-Tac on this and for the project, what I'm doing on the project today. So that's kind of my go-to glue for everything but metal or plastic. Things like that might not stick as well, depending on what you're sticking it to. No rhyme or reason here, just kind of putting the glue on. Then we'll go ahead and I just kind of center that at the top so that the corners are kind of even with the corners there. And you can move it and adjust it as need be at this point. And then I just fold up the bottom on each side just to give me a guide. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut here at an angle. So you're just going to come in at an angle. I don't measure this to the cut into where this corner is, and then you're going to take that, turn it slightly to your right, and cut. So this one, you're coming in from the left, you're going to turn it slightly to the right and cut. So I'm sure there's templates you can use or things like that. Now, if you're not very good with corners, I have found, so when you're folding this up, you know, if this is something that you're gonna, let's say you're gonna cover this, and like if you're gonna make a writing board inside your journal, you want these corners to be really nice. If you're not good at making a nice corner, a trick that I have found is to take the cutoff that you have and glue it inside there so that when you pull this over, you have a nice look on the corner there. I guess I should be in frame when I show you that. So again, if your corners aren't quite the way you want them to look, you know, if you were going to put wrap this up and then put a piece of smaller paper in there, and this would be a writing board in your journal, one of these sides is going to show this reveal. So if you're not good at that, just take that cutoff that you did over here and place it in the corner and then fold it up. If there's any amount in the corner that the cardboard's going to show, I think this one here might actually be a good example. Yeah, so there's a little bit in there. So if you just take this and glue it in the corner before you push this down, then you have that covered up. So just a little tip. We don't have to do that today necessarily, just because this is going to be the back of the panel. So once you get that cut, long story short, I always glue the thinner sides first, because then the ends are thicker or wider and they can kind of go in and help cover that up. So I just put the glue on, push it down. Now if you have a bone folder, that's a good idea. You could also clamp this, is how I used to do it before I had a bone folder. I would just clamp that on there. And then I always do the back side as well, just to make sure that you've got a nice clean look. And then come in over here and we'll do this side. Trying to remember to stay in frame. I can lift my camera up a little bit from the table, but then I have a light under the shelf that's above the table and it shines down. I'll show you there. You can, yeah, see that little line, and I don't like to have that in your way, so that's why I'm kind of zoomed in here. So here we can just fold this up, and again, grab the bone folder. And yeah, you might have to go over it several times to get it to stay where you want it. We can bend the paper to our will. Okay, then we're going to glue the bottom sections. And you guys know I am glue happy, so well, you can, but you can't have too much glue, but I always say you can't, but you can. Then we're going to go ahead and glue this side. And as you can see there, I did have a little dog leg on there. So that would maybe show if we were, yeah, see over here. So if we had a little piece in there on the back side, but because we're just using it like this, we're not going to be needing to have any fanciness. Fanciness, there's a new word. Okay, so there's the first panel. We're going to set that up here so it can dry. I'm going to quickly do the second panel because I do need to have both panels done. Maybe I should have done one before I started. Might have helped. But we're rolling now, so here we go. All right. And again, just lining that up with the corner as best as possible, leaving a wide reveal at the top. Then we're going to cut this down here, right here. Angle this into the corner, turn it to the right slightly, and cut. Just slightly to your right. Okay. Clean up our mess. Start with the side. Sorry you have to watch me glue again, but I do need 2 of these, so. And you'll see why as we progress here, because of the way that I've made this. So this is the first time I've made a journal cover like this, folding the bottom up and making a pocket. Normally I just fold it up and the panel goes all the way down in the journal. So But these pieces of fabric, I should have mentioned that too. The chenille fabric is 14 by 14. So it's perfect for this size of cover. And you'd have to have it wider if you had a wider spine, of course, but I just have that little half-inch spine. So it's going to be a single signature journals with a half-inch spine. All right, 2 down, 2 to go on the flaps. Come on, glue, don't give up on me now. I did fill it before I started, but all right, and hold that one up. Okay, stay down. And turn it over. Just give it a nice flush burnish there. Make sure everything's down tight. Make sure this one's still looking good. Yeah, got a little bit there. That's okay. All right. So there are your inside covers. Now the next thing, and something I forgot to mention, of course, is I have batting here that I have put on the, let me grab the cover. So the structure here is you have your fabric, and then on this side I put batting on the inside of the, underneath the fabric. I did not put any on the inside here because I wanted this to be having some more structure, and another layer would have made it too kind of chunky when it's closing. So yeah, we're going to fold the fabric in on the 3 sides. Then we're going to put the strip of fabric to reinforce the spine, and then we're going to flip up here the bottom pocket, and I'll show you how to stitch that. So the next step here, clean up so I have some room. We are going to get a piece of batting. Now I have scrap batting because I use this batting. It's just quilt batting. It's not very thick, maybe 1/8 of an inch thick. And I've just been using this, here we go, as I'm crafting these journal covers. So these are all odd shaped and wonky because it's a big huge piece of batting, and I've been cutting it down and using it. So this is scrap piece that I have, and so it's got a weird shape and everything, but that's how it is. So the first thing I'm going to do is glue down these panels, and I don't use quite as much glue. I do put the glue all over the surface, but you just kind of want a thin layer. This is just kind of a tack to hold it in there, because once you get this going and we get it stitched in and we have the panel glued on, it'll all come together and be just fine. So I just kind of, I do want to, you know, I would say this is generous, but it doesn't really have to be, but that's kind of, I always do that with glue. All right, so just kind of like that. And then we're going to place this down. Now we want to have a little bit of a gap in here between the 2 panel covers. So I have, what is that? Maybe, I'm terrible at measuring, maybe 1/8 of an inch, just so that when we're closing this and this comes up, it can bend into this without, if you were to butt that straight up against, now you're going to have trouble, and that spine's going to kind of want to do this or this, however you're opening it. So we're going to give a little 1/8 to, yeah, I'd say about 1/8 of an inch reveal there. And I always glue down the center next, because that's going to be your guide for gluing down the next cover. So this is the front cover, this is the back, and if I were to just glue that down and have a space in there, I might not have enough space, or I might have too much. So I always glue it in the order there. Just little tips that I found helpful. You guys probably, many of you already know this, but I do have new people meaning new people to journaling, watch my channel. So I always like to kind of instruct as I go along. So if you already know, you know, and you can just continue on. Watch me glue. All right, so there's that. Then you're going to place that down just with that same sort of reveal. Now this is, it gets a little tricky here because the batting wants to move. So I just hold it with my other hand, line it up, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want it sort of even, because if this was more or less, it's going to be wonky. So at this point, I'm going to cut the remainder, because as you can see, I have a large piece here. So I'm just going to cut this off, and I give myself, because I'm terrible when I cut fabric, so I always oversize everything because I don't cut straight and I don't do well with fabric. So anyway, down here we have, I'm just going to come in here with the scissors, and I do leave a little tiny reveal. I don't even know, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. You just want it to be, I don't know if you can see that there, but you just want it to be slightly pushing out, because what's going to happen is when this fabric comes around, it's going to give a nice softer edge to it. Don't need that on the inside because you're going to be folding the fabric in. But on that bottom one, it is nice to have that. So I do that all the way around so that that outside perimeter has a little bit of a cushion, roundedness to it. And as you can see as we go along, the cutting is not perfect, and that's okay because it's all going to be under the fabric. So just going to cut up here, and I could have had this in stages, but I kind of wanted to do this, you know, in the moment so you could see what I was doing. So in the meantime, you guys can check out all the other co-hosts for the hashtag 12x12 Junk Journal Challenge 2025. That's going to be April. She is Mama Juju, crafting on the back 40. We have Bonnie with Daisies and Grace, Caroline with Caroline's Craft Tree, Dawn with Scrapbook Sage, Debbie, Deb Ham, 3 Hens and a Chick. And then I'm going to cut here before I read the rest of our names off. I want to make sure I get them right, so I have them written down over here, because every time I've tried to do it, I know who they all are, but I try to do it and I'm like, ah. We have Joan with Joan's Junk Journal Shop, Kerry with Thumbprint Creations by Kerry, Sandy with Kentucky Crafter. And as we go along, we have Sandy, oh, Kentucky Crafter, already said that, Sheila, aka Creative Nana, and then myself. So go ahead and check out those other channels. There's links to them in the description box. And just like me, every month they do 2 videos for the challenge. One showing you what we're going to make, and the other one showing you the completed project. So moving on. So now we have the chipboard. We have it glued down, and we have the outer portion covered with batting. So the next step is to put the cover on, or the fabric on the cover. So I think, let's see, kind of have to make a decision of how you want the cover to look. So as we come around, we can have this, or we can have this. So I kind of like that look. So that's what I'm going to go for. And then the back will look like this. So I like that. So again, this is a 14 by 14 piece of fabric. I'm using this chenille, but I think you could use any kind of fabric that you wanted. Now let's make sure I have the right side out. Yes, I do. So there is a right and wrong side to the chenille, but hey, if you want to use the wrong side, I've done that before as well. So we're going to come in, and we have about, what, how big is that? About 1.75 inches at the top for this portion, like this. And then the bottom will fold up and create that pocket. So as I was making this, like normally I would just fold this up, I would glue it all down on all sides, and then I would put the panel, you know, once everything is kind of glued in there or stitched in or whatever I'm doing, then the panel goes on top of that. And your fabric strip goes down the middle to cover the spine. But I wanted this pocket to remain. So how I can accomplish this was revealing to me. So what I've done is, you're going to come in here and I'm going to glue this down. Now I personally, everybody does things different, but when I do this, I come in at the bottom here and I cut right in the center of this line. And this is a little difficult with a thicker fabric, but this is how I do it. Just kind of cut like this. And it's easier when you can actually kind of hold this in your hand. Now this is on the top of the journal. Make that point. If you do this on the bottom, your pocket's going to turn out like the purple one that I had. Now, this is going to come up in here, and then this can come up and go over here. I like to take a little teeny tiny bit off of there at an angle, just so that it can fit a little better in there. And I got to be careful, because if you push too hard here, I'm going to cut where I don't want to cut. Okay, careful. It's kind of hard to do on a table, so let me pick this. I'm going to move it here and just cut that. I'm sorry I can't do that on camera too well, but you'll see what happens. Okay, so we just kind of snip that off, and it causes this to be a little bit at an angle, but that's what we want, so that this hinge will still work. And we could go up a little bit further on that, actually. And it's kind of a feel thing. You kind of got to figure that out. And every journal does its own thing, I have found, when it comes to something like that. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing over here, just so that it gives a little bit, and you kind of have to fudge it there. So, good thing I'm on camera, then you guys can see all the mistakes, and then you do it perfect. Not a mistake, just, okay. So now you're going to have basically this. So then the question is, well, how do I cover this? So I always cut that first so that I'm ready to go. Now, if you just were going to have the cover come in like that, you would want to cut that at the bottom, and then you would put your panel in, and it would go all the way. Let's turn this around. So it would go all the way to the bottom here. With the ones that I made, I wanted the panel to be inside. So as you can see, the panel goes all the way down in there. But I wanted that bigger pocket, so what I did was just stick it in here like this. Now that took some engineering, because I have to glue it in certain stages, and then we have this that we don't want to have revealed. So as you can see, in the first one, we learn as we go, right? So in the first one, I have the fabric on the outside, which makes the panels look smaller than these panels. This one, I have the fabric behind the panels, which I think gives it a cleaner look, and then that pocket is complete. So that's how I'm going to be doing the rest of them. So whoever gets the purple one has a unique one, right? All right, so we're going to turn this around just so I can glue. Now I'm going to glue this portion here, and I just kind of pull it up, kind of see where it goes, and glue. This is easier for me than applying the glue to the fabric. Then I just pull that up and stick it down. And you want to do this portion first, because then we're going to put the next section is going to be this piece of fabric here that will act as a reinforcement for the spine, and that needs to go in before this pocket comes up. So I hope I'm making sense here. And then this one we just come across because it's going to be about the same, and just do that. And again, this is going to be stitched down, so your glue, if you're doing this process, will not need to be all that perfect. Now you do have a choice here as we're coming up on the corner. So let me show you that as soon as I get this kind of settled. So there we go. Kind of smooth that out. So on the corner, this is going to get very bulky if we do like a normal mitered corner. See how that's kind of very bulky? So what I do is I kind of trim this down a little bit. And again, I'm going to turn this around. I'm sorry if I'm confusing you. And I just kind of cut it at an angle here. And then when I'm stitching, I fold this. Now I want it a little more up into that corner, and this is kind of where sometimes I mess up. So I just kind of go in like that. So you kind of want, the idea is to have it so that the corner looks like this, and then you just pull that in. And when we stitch this over here, I just stitch it down right here. Did I glue that backwards? No, I didn't. I was a little paranoid there. All right, so that's where we're at so far. I hope you guys are still with me. This is why I don't always do tutorials. All right, so now we need to cut this one at an angle as well, just so that we have a little bit of that bulk out of there is basically what we're doing. And then that can just come over and be stitched down. Now that will not be perfect, I'll tell you right now. Okay, it could stand a little bit more. You just kind of got to find that natural corner and then cut out the excess. And it doesn't have to be pretty, but the corner here should look pretty nice, the edge. So that's going to come in like this. And we're going to glue that down just so that it's glued to the chipboard. Okay. So again, I just kind of pull in, see where the glue is going to go, because the panel is also going to cover this. So I just go like this. Make sure I have enough there. Yep. Now this part I don't glue because I'm going to stitch that. So I'll show you how I take care of that. You just want to smooth this out. And you can use a clip if you want. I don't always do that. Again, we're going to just pull that in and say, okay, we're going to go to there. And then pull that in. Make sure that corner's tucked in and nice and neat, just to get this aligned and glued down. Okay, then we come to the pocket at the bottom, and I found that if we fold this up, again, this is kind of bulky. Now, I don't take it all out. I just take, and I don't have enough, there we go. I just go from the natural corner and kind of cut in like this, because this is going to come up. It's going to tuck in like this, and I'm going to stitch this when I stitch the outside of the cover. So I'm just taking out a little bit of the bulk in there. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this so you guys can see. this folds up, these are just going to tuck in, and there we'll have our cover. So now I'm going to show you how I stitch, and I'm going to start, I always start with the pocket if I can, or I start up here if that's not readily, or if that doesn't make sense. Okay, so we got to make sure that this is still aligned. Yep, okay. We're going to come up like this. Now this is where a clip comes in handy, because I have found that you want this side, I start on that side usually, you want this side to be clipped, because this is where you want this fabric to meet, and kind of that's the important section, is right here and right here. Okay, so we're just going to kind of tuck this in until we get where we want it to be. And that's kind of a feel thing. I don't have a formula for that. Alright, so to stitch, what I do is I come in here, and I've already tied this in a knot, and like I said, I split the embroidery thread in half, so there's 3 strands, and then I doubled that, so there's 6 strands, tied a knot at the end, and then we're just going to hide this knot somewhere in here. Now I want to start up here because I want that to be included in the stitching. So I'm just going to do a blanket stitch. I think that's what this is called. That's what I've learned. So when I learned to do any embroidery or anything, it was my grandmother or my mom, and they didn't know the stitches, so they just said, here's what you do. So I come up through the bottom of the inner pocket, so the thread is now on the inside. Then I'm just going to come across, I'm going to take a little stitch next to that so that it doesn't come undone, and I'm going to come through to the front. And then I'm going to grab this loop. Now you want to make sure that it's not crossed. It'll naturally cross over. So you want to make sure it's uncrossed. And then just pull your needle from front to back. And then you're going to pull that and cinch it down. You're going to go over about 1/4 of an inch. You're going to come out through both layers of fabric. You're going to find that loop, make sure it's straight, go front to back through the loop, and you're going to pull it. And what this does is it makes like a little U shape all along on the cover. And then I just go all the way around the perimeter. And let me pull this up. Now I have the, same color of thread because that's the look I wanted. You could do this with a contrasting thread, and then it would show that as well. So I just like to use thread that kind of matches. So we're going to come through here, and then hi B. Yeah, I'm making a video. You're right. Yep. Shut the door, please. My grandson's here. Can you say hi to everybody?
Hi.
Yeah, you came to see what Grandma's doing? I'm making a cover.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I just poked my finger because I was talking to you.
Uh-oh.
I know. I'm okay. It's okay.
Oh.
I'm okay. Don't worry. Want to give it a kiss? Thank you. Right there. It's tiny, huh? Anyway, we just keep going front to back here and looping through the loop, and that's how you make the blanket stitch. So you'll just do that all the way around the perimeter of the journal. And then when we get over where the clamp is on the other side, I'll show you that here. Just pull it up, and you want to pull that straight. I did want to make that point as you come in like this, and then go front to back in the loop. You're going to want to pull that thread and pull it straight up, because that's how it gives a nice little finished look on there. So you're going to do that all the way around. At the bottom here, tip that I have is you want to keep this pulled up as you're stitching along the bottom here, so that that's a nice straight pocket. And then when you get over here, usually what happens is you come along here like this and you have some bulk over here. So at this point you can cut that out on the corner, tuck it in, and then as you stitch, you're just going to stitch, because you'll be coming around this way, you'll just stitch it right in there. And the same thing up here, you'll just come along, fold those in and stitch along. Then after you get all that done, you're just going to take a piece of fabric. Now see, I messed that up because this I wanted inside. So good thing you came in here, Bee. So this is going to come like this. You're just going to glue a piece of fabric in there. Let me cut that. Hold on, Bee. I'll help you in a minute, okay? Can you be a good boy for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right. I don't know what he needs, but we'll see. All right. We're going to come in here, and I'm just going to kind of estimate where this is and glue that down. Sorry, guys. I didn't get that in there sooner. Be careful not to stitch that or glue that. Okay, something's happening here. Oh, it's me. Are you trying to help?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that there's any help at this point, Bee. Yeah, this is where I messed up, because I should have put all this in, put the panels in, and then you guys would know what I'm doing. All right, so this goes in here. I'm going to come from the bottom. Just a minute, honey. He must have something he needs help with. Does he need help with something?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, Grandma messed up. There's no messing up in craft, is there? There's just what? Fixing it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we can fix it, Bee. Say, you can do it, Grandma. Oh, thank you. A kiss of encouragement, huh? Thank you. Okay, that's enough. Thank you. Okay, so this is going to be glued in here. Obviously, that would have been better before we stitched, but I got excited about the stitching. Oh, Bee, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
You know? What?
Yeah. But.
Yes.
But.
Yes, baby, what? I'm listening. I just can't look at you right now. Go ahead. What? I can glue it? Yeah. Oh, back and forth with stitching?
Yeah.
Oh, I can stitch it. Okay. I thought you were going to say we could go to the playground. Usually that's your answer for anything. Huh. Do you like going to the playground?
Yeah.
Is it your favorite thing to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on, Bee. I'm gluing. Oh, man. Can you shut the door, please? Still good. All right. And then this side. Are you staying in here?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, Bee, I don't know if this video is even going to make it up. We might have to start all over. What do you think?
But.
Huh? Yeah, you don't touch my ink. Thank you. I know you like to work with ink, huh? What, Bee? All right. Hold your horses, Bee. Yeah. You're so funny. I'm funny?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think you're the funny one. Grandma's funny?
Yes.
Well, Grandma... Really funny, huh? Grandma made a funny mess here. That's what she did. All right, let's see. Turn this over. We're going to cut that piece off there. And I think I salvaged it, you guys. Maybe I should do another video and show you how to do it right. Anyway, that's... See, you can never go wrong with a junk journal. So here we go. That is how it will look. I'm happy with that. Are you happy? You need me to stitch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I have to finish stitching. All right. So that is my way of, sort of my way of creating that pocket at the bottom. And again, that'll be when the signature goes in there, that'll all come together and be a nice little cover. So I hope you guys got something out of this video. I don't know, B. What do you think? You think Grandma messed up too bad? No. No. You think I did okay?
Yeah.
2 thumbs up? Wow. Can you give a thumbs up under here? Oh, show everybody what you're saying. Okay, put your hands here and show everybody what you're saying. You're saying 1 thumbs up and 1 thumbs down. So you're saying I did okay. 1 down and 1 up?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope you guys got something out of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Join me in an upcoming video where I will do a full reveal of the completed journals. Hopefully, I will get another video in at some point to show you the progress. If not, well, we'll be here later. Okay, say goodbye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure to comment. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.